plan?
Let's go. Monday morning, ready to crack on. We have some yard work to do. Everyone loves a bit of yard work, makes you feel incredible. Basically, come up here. We need to move this pile, this monstrosity of leftovers from the big tree that got felled. We need to move that out the way, cut it all up into bits, and yeah, move it so that here can be a massive, great woodshed / storage area for my excavator, for the wood chipper, for the wood splitter, and then I can free up on my workshop, because actually yesterday it was pouring down with rain and I spent a whole day in the workshop and it was lovely but a little bit cramped.
So whilst Theo sets up, I'm gonna let the animals out. They're all watching me. They're like, come on, you gonna let us out or what? So I shall. The goats have been surprising me recently. They've been coming out with me for walks in the pouring rain. Now these two are notorious for hating on the rain. Doesn't seem to bother them at the moment. They want the greenery, so they will do anything, including coming out in the pouring rain. So good morning, girls. Also, you might have noticed I'm in a t-shirt. It is surprisingly warm today. It's November and I'm in a t-shirt. Good morning, gang. Hey. Hello. How are you doing? So what's the plan of action? Shall we move all the brush first, or?
All the brush. So all usable stuff like that into its own pile. All the small brush like this that's pointless goes on there where all that old burnt stuff is.
Right.
And then any big stuff we need to pull out first, cut that up because there's usable stuff in there. It's hard to see how steep that dam wall is, so if I can bring some of them bigger bits further down, it's just easier to stand there and cut them up. It takes like an extra couple of minutes and it's way safer, because standing on the steep bank in the wet, because it's soaking wet right now, even though it's going to be an absolutely beautiful day, and the forecast for the next 10 days is incredible, so I'm going to get so much done.
Okay.
Right, if you unhook that, I'll get the chainsaw set up.
Altitude pressure.
light in your eyes comes over me, just like a sunrise. You set a scene, turning my gray skies blue, just like you always do. I don't want anyone else, 'cause I know there's not anyone else that makes me feel the way you do. It's easy to prove I don't want anyone else but you. My mind is made up, won't ever change, and no matter what, I'll feel the same. Hold up the world for you, whenever you want me to.
Check out the patterns on this one that Theo's just cut up. Absolutely stunning. That'll be bugs that were under the bark, eating their way through. Nature is my favourite artist. So pretty.
So I'm just refueling and putting more oil in because I've already gone through a tank. Absolutely so much debris from that tree. It was massive. And this is a saw, not a powerful saw at all, but it does the job for cutting all the branches, and my back is very thankful of this saw. I'll show you the difference once I've finished oiling this up, but it's absolutely huge, the weight difference. So there's no point me using a massive saw all day long just cutting up branches when I can use this little thing. This is a MS162 versus the MS362. Oh, the difference.
I mean, at a glance they look the same, but you can see, yeah, that's massive.
Far from the same. Trust me, my back, like, I just started using this morning, just off, like, I don't know, what would you call?
Habit?
Just habit, yeah, this is what I always use, but I got this to save my back, and just after 20 minutes of using it, I'm in no pain whatsoever, whereas that one, I can feel it. Let's go. Strengthen my back. I'm always trying to strengthen my back. I've had problems with my back all my life because I was a cameraman all my life, so I always had a camera on my shoulder like this 12 hours a day, every single day pretty much. It's not good for you at all, and you pay the price later on in life.
I don't want anyone else, 'cause I know there's not anyone else that makes me feel the way you do. It's easy to prove I don't want anyone else but you.
We've got the big logs gone. I wouldn't even call those logs, they're stumps, aren't they? They're tree stumps. They're out the way for now, so we can carry on moving the ones to go on the burn pile, well, brush burn pile, and then the ones to go on the log for our fire pile. Oh, there's a tree stump here.
This stumpy tried to get away with it.
I think so, mate.
The stump rolling contest.
Ooh, got a bit of obstacles in the way. You lose a point for each obstacle you hit. Wow. Can you believe that is all the same tree?
The mammoth, I'm going up.
Closing my eyes today, dreaming of far away in time, keeps on passing by, and suddenly I realize it's gonna be alright. Finally I found a place where my troubles fade away, and the world outside my door can't come in. Found finally feeling like myself.
We might have lost this massive tree that was on the hillside and a couple of other ones that we've chopped down over the years, but in its place we have got quite a few oaks growing, which is amazing and wonderful. These are native to the area. They are absolutely thriving in this new space. It's hard to see on camera, but there is actually quite a lot of them cropping up all over this hillside. It's lovely. And actually right here that I'm holding, growing up out of the actual dead tree here, this is an ash. So there is life slowly coming back to this massive expanse. It is worth noting though that even though there is growth coming back from the ashes, which is lovely to see, it's what we want to see, it is a very, very, very slow process. Trees don't just grow into what they were overnight. They were growing for decades. Some of the trees were hundreds of years old. So it's bittersweet. Seeing them come back to life, absolute joy. Well, not even come back to life. Seeing new ones grow is joy. But knowing that that tree that was chopped down, that was over 30 years old. We'll never see that here again the way it was. So there's still a lot of pain around that, knowing what was lost, but it's great that there is new stuff growing back, even if it's very slow and we'll never see it in its full potential.
We definitely put on like a brave face when it comes to what happened and pushing forward after the fire, but the trauma is strong. Like, there's not a day that goes by where I'm not reminded of what happened, you know. And it is hard. Some days it's harder than others, but there's no other option but to push forward, make this place the most incredible place that we want to live in. We have a chance now to replant, regrow, landscape the place exactly how we want it, with the ponds and the water retention. It's going to be incredible. This is a lifetime project, and we're just getting started.
Cracks under barefoot feet, smell of the salted sea, and I walk for miles and miles. Suddenly I realize, yes, everything's alright. Finally
This was a super productive morning. We've got our temporary wood piles laid up here. We've got a big one, then smaller ones, then we've got the actual tree stumps, and we've got a brush pile here that we need to burn because it's just too awkward and spindly to actually use for anything. A lot of it's incredibly rotted out as well, and it's just not really the best. But this is going to be an absolutely fantastic space. It's kind of crazy how much we managed to achieve this morning. Really looking forward to actually having a designated woodshed. It'll be brilliant. And yeah, this stuff's not going to stay here forever, but it's out of the way and nicely, neatly piled up for now.
So I've got my fishing rod in hand because we've got a problem. We have an otter problem. We don't know if it is an actual problem right now, but we know that we have an otter. We saw it in the lake and it was feasting hard. So we're going to make our way down to the small new pond and we're going to check to see if we can catch a fish and see if there's any fish left, or whether the otter has made it down to the small pond. I'm not sure. They're very far apart from each other. So we'll have to find out. And also I've got some more things that I need to talk about the pond. So that was an extremely successful half an hour fishing in the small pond to see what's still in there, and it looks like everything's still in there. It seems like the otter has not found this pond yet, which is absolutely incredible. Hopefully it never finds it. I'm not sure what to do. I think the next step is to kind of monitor the otter and set up trail cams and try and understand where it's going, because we first saw this otter about midway up the mountain near our pond that basically fills and then supplies the lake. And then we've seen the otter in the lake, and this pool, well, this pond is quite a long way from the other lake, so I know it's quite complicated. There's lots of ponds involved and only one otter it seems, but we're going to try and monitor it. So I caught a perch first, then an Italian chub that's in the carp family, and then a pumpkin seed. There's also bass in here as well, some big and then some smaller ones. So this pond is designed to grow the fish, and then they will be moved to the lake when the lake is higher. Basically, there's already a lot of big perch in the lake, and they're to kind of keep the goldfish down because the goldfish problem in the lake just went crazy. So if we can have a word with the otter and just say, just eat the goldfish, but the last thing we want is our lake filling completely, and then we've got loads of really kind of like expensive good fish that have taken years to stock that lake, and then suddenly they get wiped out. I don't know if it is a problem. I know I'm going on here. I don't know if it is a problem later down the line, whether we can speak to maybe the conservation services in the natural park and say, is there a way that maybe we can trap it and rehome it? I'm not sure. We'll find out. But there's some other things I want to talk about the lake. So as you can see, the pond is very, very low, and that is because I am draining it right back to fix a leak. At the moment, I've got the water overflowing into here. I've still got a couple more days that I want to drain this down so I can get the excavator in here. Luckily, the weather is absolutely perfect this week, so I can drain it back, I can let it dry out, and then drive the excavator into the pond once again and do the maintenance that I need to do without sinking the excavator. So all of the animals have been taking advantage of how low the pond is, and I can see lots of boar prints. They've been coming down here to drink, no doubt, and also birds as well. I've seen some birds drinking at the side of the water, and that is why I want this area is designed to be shallower. So I'm going to grade this all the way up to the bank just there, so animals can walk right to the edge of the waterline. It just wasn't filling up to where I needed it to fill up, because I realized that we had a fairly significant leak, I believe, because if you look here, the water was overflowing into this kind of ditch, this pool here. But what was happening is then the water wouldn't go any further. So I believe that the leak is in this area. This is the problem area. You can see that there's lots of roots and stuff. So I need to dig out all of these roots and see what's causing the problem. A pond with a liner is obviously going to hold water. That's what it's designed to do. Natural ponds are a lot harder to establish, and I want a natural pond here. I do have plans for another pond later down the line for irrigation that I'm going to use a liner for, but this, I want it to be a natural pond, and it just takes time, it just takes work, and eventually I will get there. I think this is probably the last thing I need to fix before this pond is going to be crystal clear, overflowing and thriving for all of the wildlife.
All of Theo's hard work has paid off, especially repairing the dam wall during the really heavy rains that we had a couple of weeks ago now. It's held up nice and firm, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the pond gets on. It is now time to burn the burn pile that we created. We've got the good pile that we're going to be cutting and splitting and doing all types of things too. And then behind me here, we've got the burn pile, and that needs to go because this area is going to be the woodshed, and that's why we've been clearing it. So Theo was here. I don't know where he's gone. Theo? He was literally just here a second ago and now he's disappeared.
The light in your eyes comes over me just like a sunrise. You set a scene, turning my grey skies blue, just like you always do. I don't want anyone else, 'cause I know there's not anyone else that makes me feel the way you do. It's easy to prove I don't want anyone else but you.
So it took quite a while to get this fire going, because although we left it a day for the wood to dry out, probably wasn't enough. Like, it probably could have done with like 3 or 4 days, but I know it's going to be nice for the next at least 7 days. But we're in the mountains, anything can happen, and it could rain at any point, and then I'd just be stuck with this pile here for ages and ages, and I want to get it cleared so we can make a start on that woodshed.
Whilst Theo's managing the fire, I've taken the girls for a walk, and behind me is a tree that we showed in a video not long ago that had snapped and has some beautiful oyster mushrooms growing on it, and I've just noticed that it's completely detached itself. Before it was snapped and still connected. Now it's totally separate, which is pretty fascinating. And I wanted to actually talk about the fact that we do only have 2 goats now, and it's something that I've been trying to talk about in videos for ages. It's just been very difficult to talk about because we did lose Sky, our 3rd goat, and it happened in June, and it happened the day after I lost my chicken Sandy, who had impacted crop. And it was a really difficult week because losing 2 of our animal family was heartbreaking. Losing Sky was really difficult. I took that one really hard because I'd known for 2 months that she was not right. There was something wrong with her. I had the vet out at least twice a week. Sometimes we were there in the middle of the night because she was just so unwell. She was eating like a horse, but she was skin and bones, and that really was worrying. I was trying to fatten her up. I was trying to figure out what it was. We went through every single possibility. I had to ask the vet to take a blood sample to check her bloods, because pet goats are just not really a thing here. They'll manage the whole herd, so asking for an individual blood sample for one goat was weird, and in the end he couldn't even find someone to do the testing for me. And it all started after they'd had their worming and vaccination, so I knew it was related to that, but I just didn't know what. I went through all these different forums. I spoke to so many different people. Like I said, I had the vet out all the time, and he couldn't figure it out. And when she passed away, she was immediately had ballooned, and most things when they pass away, they go through they inflate and they deflate. That's normal, but she just went inflated and stayed that way. The vet offered to do an autopsy. He came, and the moment he looked at her, he knew exactly what it was. I can't remember the scientific name, but it's called overeating disease, and it had been triggered by the vaccine because they're vaccinated against it. It's this bacteria that they have in their rumen, and basically that had been overactive and it had been starving her. So it kind of really hurt because it could have been prevented. And that's why I'm still trying to process it now. It's been I really struggle losing any of our animals. And I tried so hard to keep her with us, and her passing away was just absolutely gut-wrenching. Like I said, I was spending nights with her. I was spending all my time with her. I was monitoring her, constantly sending updates to the vet. And nothing I could do could save her. So now we just have the 2. And these 2 are old girls, so I know that our time with them is also limited. Matilde is sadly showing signs of cancer, and I really don't think that there's anything I can do here. I've asked the vet, and he basically was just like, there's no such thing as cancer treatment for goats here. So I'm going to look and see if there's any mega goat specialists in Europe who could possibly help. But for now, it's just a case of I want the goats to have the best life they can, and I mean, look at them, they're pretty happy.
Held within your arms, carried through the night, whispers in the dark, pull me to the light. The stars in the sky have led me to find what I've been searching for. It's right in front of me, beyond my wildest dreams.
So we are coming to the end of another solid day. Bee had a lovely walk, she tells me, with the goats, and I've just been feeding this fire. I call it hippie TV. Back from van life, where you just have a campfire, sit outside your van and wind down for the evening. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.